Welcome back. It's everybody's favorite segment. Ed explains a movie. Ed, explain a movie.
We've got a movie that was the year I was born, Carrie, 1976.
Yeah, never seen it. Heard of it.
Yeah.
I've seen she's got a bloody face at the prom. That's
Yes.
that's the extent of what I know.
That's all I knew until I watched it. Get ready for a wild ride.
Okay, let's go.
All right, it starts with some girls playing volleyball in gym class. And I don't think it's an all-girls school, but I guess like in the mid-70s they just separated gym classes. I don't like
No, our gym classes were always separate.
Really?
Boys and girls. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Ours would the girls would not try and be on the side, and the boys were going wild playing, whatever sport it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were separated, and Sissy Spacek plays Carrie.
Yeah.
And it's weird. She's a weird girl and looks out of sorts. She looks like something's off, but she can pass for a high school girl, but she also could pass for 30. And I looked it up. She was born in 49. So she really was like 26 or 27 when they were filming it.
Yeah,
but
that's
just
real,
weird. She looks young, but she doesn't.
Yeah, that's Ian Ziering territory. They really do you think I know they do that because of the laws, the child labor laws. They use adults to play teens, but also I think it makes it it makes it more palatable that they're doing adult things, so that it's like I'm actually watching an adult, even though they're in high school, they can do adult things and I can be more okay with it. I think
especially for the next scene that I'm going to tell you.
This is
because
they start out playing volleyball and then
what happens after gym class? They get sweaty.
Take a shower, yeah.
And what's his name? Brian De Palma is the director.
Yeah,
he was going for it. Just lots of breasts and full bush, and it's just like everyone's lathering up and towel fights, laughter. It was expected. You had to have this kind of thing in these movies.
The 70s. I was once friends with a guy that makes horror. He's actually been on the show. I was once friends with a guy that makes horror movies, and he's very successful. And I said to him, I go, hey, he had a new movie coming out, and I'm like, oh, gonna be some titty. Like there's gonna be like that scene where they're running away from the killer with their titties. And he goes, and he just looked at me like I was crazy, and he goes, we don't do that anymore.
You sure did it back in the day, though.
That was
what horror movies were.
Yes, yeah.
So the laughter. Everyone looks 30, and I think it's the hairstyles too. I mean, they were older, but back then, something just. But you would recognize some of the PJ Souls, the blonde chick from Stripes. She was one of the high school girls.
Yes, I'm looking at the cast right now. This is
Amy Irving.
Yes, Steven Spielberg's wife. Yeah,
she'd been in stuff. Yeah, they're in that locker room. All right. So then Carrie's the only one left in the shower, and it's like slow motion showing her scrubbing down. And Sissy Spacek is really skinny, but she has a good body.
Yeah.
And De Palma's going for it. It's like slow motion lathering. And as she washes herself, she drops the soap and notices blood coming out of her.
Oh, fuck.
She's 30, but she's in shock. She's losing her shit. She's losing her shit.
Do we know what grade she's supposed to be in?
No, I mean it looks like a bunch of 30-year-olds showering together, and then she holds up her hand, and she's got blood on her hand, and she's like, "Help me, help me!" And she rubs her hands on the other girls, and the girls the girls are like, "What the fuck?" And then they all start chanting, "Plug it up," and pelt her with tampons. It's wild.
No.
One of the high school girls chanting "Plug it up."
Yeah.
Is Edie McClurg. She's trying to be a high school girl. She's 35.
Mrs. Garrett?
No, Edie McClurg is Mrs. Poole. She's Ed Rooney's secretary.
Secretary, that's right. Yeah. What is going on? So is this a dream sequence? This isn't really happening in the movie.
It's happening, and then in marches the gym teacher, Miss Collins, who's played by Betty Buckley, who was the woman who married Dick Van Dyke in 8 Is Enough. Remember how there was everyone looked like there was a 45-year-old woman there, and one of them happened to be their stepmom?
Yes.
That was Betty Buckley.
Yes. Okay, I remember.
So she shuts down all the chanting and yells at the girls. and she
Yeah.
gets Carrie to calm down, and she's trying to get her to calm down. She's not, and so the old move when somebody's like freaking out, just slap her right in the face.
Yeah, that
Just
helps. No,
just slap
Sean
her.
Connery told us to do that. Like if that's hey, if nothing else is working,
You
just
need
to
to shake them and
yes. I
money
just dropped my
penny.
pen, by the way. Hold
And
on, I gotta get it.
okay,
Okay, go.
so when she gets slapped, then a light bulb shatters over her head, like in the room, just
Oh,
shatters.
because she has powers. That's how we know she has powers. Or
But
she's
she's acting,
possessed.
yeah. And now, like,
Yeah.
even though she's calmer, she's like a little baby, like a baby that's been
Yeah.
traumatized. And she's, I don't know. I mean, she's just got her first period, but she looks old enough. Like, there,
Yeah.
and it's surrounding the prom, so she's a late bloomer because
Yeah.
she's getting
It's
her first period, and it's the year of the prom.
yeah, this is before all the hormones in the milk and stuff. Now they have their
That's right.
period at 10
That's
years
right.
old, but back then you could be 16, 17 before you had your
Right.
period.
You get
Although
that
I
factory farm chicken. You're
yes, yeah.
blossoming at 9
Yeah,
years old.
Mr. Tyson is getting everybody their
Yeah.
period
Frank
too early.
Purdue.
But I will say, what's up with these other bitches? Like this is they had tampons on hand. They could have just
Yes.
handed one to her and been like, "Are you okay?" Or "Here's what
Well,
you do," or whatever.
it was more fun to
Yeah,
pelt her with it and say plug it up.
that's so disturbing, Ed.
So,
Plug it
so
up.
Carrie so Carrie's in the like principal's office waiting room, and the gym
Yeah,
teacher and principal are talking about it like, isn't this fucking weird? Like she doesn't know what her period is? Like what's going on?
yeah,
And they bring her in, they're like, Carrie, you're going home. And the
yeah.
principal calls her Cassie, and she goes, "It's Carrie." And then the ashtray on the principal's desk shatters or
Wow.
crashes to the ground.
Yes, ashtray in the principal's
Oh, like
office.
several butts in
Amazing.
the
Oh
ashtray. It's pretty good.
yeah, love
Then
that.
then she walks home. As she's walking home, some little shit on his bike's riding by, going creepy Carrie, creepy Carrie, and all of a sudden
What?
that kid eats shit on his bike.
Yeah, yeah, because she's using her powers again.
Right,
This is like Scott Howard finding out he could wolf out. Like this is
right.
she didn't know this before that. Before she got her period, she didn't know she had powers.
You know how like you watch Simpsons a Simpsons episode, and then and then you see what they were referring to, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that
Yeah,
this Simpsons episode was a reference to this movie or that movie.
yeah,
A couple
yeah.
times during this movie, I was like, that's kind of like the Scott Baio movie Zapped.
Yes, yeah,
And now I
yes. It's
realize Scott
homage. Yeah,
Baio was an
yes,
homage to Carrie,
that's right. That makes
except Scott
sense.
Baio was just making blouses come
Yeah,
off
I
and
know.
skirts go
It's
up.
the good old days. They don't do that anymore.
So we meet Carrie's mom, and it's Mrs. White, and she's played by Piper Laurie, who we did her in the death segment like last year, maybe.
Yes,
I remember we talked about her. She was like a
yes,
famous old Hollywood name, Piper Laurie.
totally. I remember. I recall. Yes.
So Carrie's mom is going door to door trying to convince a woman to make sure her daughter converts to the Lord.
Um,
Mom's like, I'll give you $5, but beat it. And she's
yeah,
like, I pray you find Jesus. And she's like, just take my $5 and go away. So like she's religious, like pushing her stuff on people.
yeah. We're starting to learn where Carrie gets it from.
Yeah, so she gets home to the creepy old house, and Carrie's nervous, and the phone rings, and Mrs. White finds out what happened at school. When she
Yeah,
gets off the
the
phone,
principal
she's like,
calls. Yeah.
she's angry, and she goes, "You're a woman now." And she
Yep.
slaps Carrie and reads her a passage called "The Sins of Women."
For getting her period.
Yeah, she goes, "Say it. The first sin was intercourse. Eve was weak.
Whoa.
Say it."
Whoa. Whoa.
And she
This is
won't give
taking a
up until
turn.
Carrie says it.
Right.
And she prays.
But we don't, but
She's
Carrie hasn't had intercourse. She just had her period, which is a
no,
natural thing that happens to all women.
but she thinks because Carrie must have had lustful thoughts, that's why she became a woman.
Oh,
And then she drags
yeah.
Carrie by her hair and locks her in a closet.
What? Yeah.
And Carrie's crying and lights a candle, and there's like creepy Jesus statues all over the house.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty creepy place.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
And then she cries in the mirror, and of course the mirror shatters. And then there are like 4 more Jesus pictures in her room.
Yeah.
And then we're back at school, and
Oh, it's
she's
like the
now in a
next day.
next day. She's taught in a class taught by Cheswick from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was like the balding guy with the glasses. He like
Yep.
creepy
Yeah.
looking. You would recognize him from Cuckoo's Nest, but
Yep.
um, he asked the class what they thought of. So the jock of the school is reading a poem, that he wrote, the jock,
Oh.
is played by greatest American hero himself, Bill Catt.
I saw him in the cast here, and I couldn't wait to find out what he
Be-
was doing. He was everywhere back then. He's in Big
oh yeah,
Wednesday. He was doing it all back in the day.
beautiful blonde perm.
Gorgeous.
His so the teacher's shitting, like mocking him for the shitty poem that he reads, that he
Yeah.
wrote. Like that, he's just straight up mocking him. And
Well, I mean, we need more of that. You know, we gotta denormalize. We gotta criminalize poetry. Is really what we got to do because
I'm all
look.
for it.
I have yet to hear a good one. I mean, I'm sure there's good ones. And look, everyone knows Ed. Who's my go-to favorite poet?
Oh, is Central American guy or South American
Yes,
guy?
yes,
Pablo
you're on.
Neruda.
Yes, Pablo Neruda. Like anybody asks you your favorite poet, you tell them Pablo Neruda because all his poems are in Spanish.
But what's all the bullshit that we've just normalized poems that don't rhyme?
Yes, they don't rhyme, and you're supposed. And when you
I'll
read them,
fuck
you're
with a
supposed.
limerick. I mean,
Lyrics are great. A haiku,
sure.
I'll fuck with the haiku. If it's
Yeah.
something amusing, but a poem doesn't rhyme, that's just words, dude. That's just and then what about people? Look, this MTV did a deaf poetry jam. Deaf spoken no, was it called Deaf Poetry Jam?
I think it
They would
was.
there was a whole show of spoken word, and you had to say your poem in this cadence because then it makes more of an impact.
Hey,
And it's like, dude, just learn to rap. Like, just like, just that was that
I,
was that
that was
was
Michelle.
LSU Lawless. That was
That's his
LSU's
dream.
Lawless phone call. That was great.
That was the dream.
Yeah, fuck poetry. Fuck spoken word. Fuck spoken word. Just
Yeah.
look, put it to music or shut the fuck up. But no, hold on. Put it to music or write it down, and that's it. That's those are your two choices. I don't need you
That's right.
speaking it at me. Okay.
Well, anyway, Carrie says she thinks the poem is beautiful, and so then the teacher just
Oh,
turns on her,
yeah.
and everybody's
Oh,
mocking her, and so the greatest American hero feels bad.
yeah.
And then we go back to the gym class, and we see the janitor scrubbing graffiti off the wall that says "Carrie White eats shit." So just
What?
everyone is just
Just
lining up to shit
all
on this
she did
girl.
was have her period.
Well, she did rub it on some of the girls. That's pretty
That's
weird.
kind of fucked. That is kind of fucked. Yeah, I would agree.
So the gym teacher lines up all the girls and tells them they did a really shitty thing yesterday. Do any of you stop to think Carrie White has feelings? Nah,
Yeah.
you're too busy thinking about the prom. And so
Yeah.
the teacher says they should be suspended for 3 days and no prom, but she was
Yeah.
overruled, and instead only 1 week detention. Punishment
What?
for not showing will be no prom.
What? So you get fed such a bill of goods on high school movies, like before you're in high school. First of
Yeah,
all, the cheerleaders are the hot girls. Never, not in real life, ever.
almost never.
The football players are cool. Nope, not cool. The prom is the most important day of your life. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the prom is coming.
Ugh.
What is going on with the prom? We're doing the prom. Nobody gives a
What are
fuck
we
about the
doing with
prom.
corsages? Corsages? What? Are we
What
in
a
the 20s?
racket. Yes.
Or the
Tuxedos.
1920s? We are in the
Yes.
20s now, but yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, it's just
No, fuck the prom. Fuck normalizing the prom. Like, what is going on here with these? Like, everything they told us was a goddamn lie.
yes. I agree. Oh, by the way, the queen bee of all these chicks that you know,
Yeah.
it's the chick from RoboCop.
Oh,
His
Nancy
partner,
Allen. Yeah.
Nancy
Yeah.
Allen. She's
Yeah.
she's the queen bee in this
Holy shit.
school.
That's
And so
crazy.
she's like, I'm not doing whatever punishment. She's like, I'm just not doing it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
skip detention. I don't give a shit.
Fuck yeah. She's a rebel. I love her.
Whereas Edie McClurg and the rest of the girls are treated to like some sort of boot camp for
Yeah.
fucking with Carrie.
Yeah.
Carrie, meanwhile, is in the library researching telekinesis because she's like, what the fuck's going on with me? I got light bulbs exploding and stuff like that. She doesn't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
So but now hold on again. This is before internet times. Like there's millennials in our audience, Ed, that
Like,
do
what's
not
a library?
that don't know that you would have to go if you're like, I'm gonna be in Denver in 3 months. I have to learn the names of some hotels in Denver, and then I have to call them individually and ask them how much they will charge me for a room. And then I got to go, well, are there any other hotels you can recommend? And then I expect them to tell me the name of a competing hotel so I can get the prices. My question to you is this: telekinesis. This is a phrase I've never heard in my life. Like if my ring light exploded right now as I'm doing this, I wouldn't go, "Oh, I must have telekinesis." Like how would she even know what book to look in? This is such a that's even a greater power than she has, that she immediately goes, "Oh, fuck, I have telekinesis."
Well, if you think the prom is bullshit, how about the Dewey Decimal System? Just finding something in a library.
Yeah.
Like,
What the fuck was that?
anytime you would find something in a library is because you're like, can you help me find
That's
this
the
book? Like,
librarian.
the librarian has to find you. I can't figure out what's going on with the Dewey Decimal
No, there's
System.
dots. There's
Yeah.
there's a dot, and
Point
there's some numbers
6.
after the dot, and
Yeah,
you're
it's too
like, oh,
much.
I gotta look. Just ask the lady. What if you needed to throw some shit up on the microfiche, Ed? Like you're like,
Micro.
oh, I need.
You're zipping through old
Yeah,
newspapers.
where do I stop? What is this? And I'm zooming in, and then what? I'm gonna make a Xerox of this. Like what? What? How did we survive? How did we get food at the time? And also, it was a way better time, by the way. Like our guy Ted Kaczynski, he had some bad methods, Ed. Okay, like I
Yeah,
don't.
he went the old Jokey Smurf method. He just let shit blow up on.
Yes. I don't condone exploding the secretary's face. Okay, that was wrong. But
But
he was on to something where he's like, hey, watch out for technology. This is fucking everything up. He was right about that. So we should be in the microfiche time and the Dewey Decimal System times, Ed.
yeah,
I miss those days.
but anyway, back at the boot camp thing.
And
Chris
analog
is
porn, by the way.
right.
Yes, yeah. Okay, go on.
Chris, who's the RoboCop lady, Nancy Allen. Chris, she's like, you know what? She talks to the 8 is enough lady, the gym teacher, and she calls her a bitch. And 8 is enough teacher slaps her, so she just storms off. No prom for her. She's like, I'll get my revenge. She's pissed.
Yeah.
The other main popular girl, Sue, played by Amy Irving, she actually has a conscience. She feels bad about things, so she asks her boyfriend Tommy, Greatest American Hero, hey, why don't you take Carrie White to the prom? He's like, what?
What? Yeah.
I got my, I mean, for what we were taught is prom is when you're definitely going to have sex. And so like, he's like, so I'm not taking you to the prom, I'm taking the weirdo that nobody likes.
Yeah, I want to get some puss. Like this is prom is about puss. Thus the classic phrase, I'm off like a prom dress. Like that's what you're saying is everyone gets laid at the prom. You're expecting me to take Carrie. Also, what do we know about Carrie? What's the one thing we know about Carrie? She's flowing heavy right now. Like that's
Right.
this is.
I don't know how close we are.
Oh, could be a couple weeks out. Let's hope. That would, but then she could be ovulating. That could be a tough time for her as well.
Another problem. She better be able to do mouth stuff.
Huge. But I will say this, and not having seen this movie, Bill Catt, he'd be wise to stay close to Carrie. You don't want to be on their bad side. Like I asked my kids, I go, hey, you sized up the shooters at school? Like,
right.
who might be showing up? And they tell me, they go, don't worry, Dad, we're cool with them. We're cool with the kids that are definitely going to come and shoot up the school eventually. We're cool with those guys.
You know who the shooters will be.
Yeah, of course you do. And similarly, if she's taking her period blood and rubbing it all over the girls in the shower and making fucking ashtrays explode and shit, you stay close to that. You just look. You might not get laid on prom, but you got the whole rest of your life to do sexual activity.
Right.
Stay close to the murderer.
So we cut to RoboCop lady, fresh after the prom demotion. She's riding in her boyfriend Billy's car. Her boyfriend Billy, it's the mid 70s. He's drinking a PBR while driving.
Fuck yeah.
Her boyfriend Billy is played by Vinnie Barbarino himself, John Travolta.
So I was completely blown away by this. I had no idea.
Yeah,
that our guy was in this movie. Yeah. He
spills a beer while the cops drive by, and she's like, "You dumb shit," and he just slaps her. Like, it's
Yeah.
full on 70s in there.
He's always slapping people. He slaps Deborah Winger around, and then she
Yes, he
marries him
does.
the next
Yeah.
day in Urban
Uh,
Cowboy. Like there was so much slapping of
what
women.
was their name? Something forever. This is killing me.
I can
Damn.
look it up. I can look it up. Urban. I'm not
Oh, it's
typing
gonna
with one
kill me.
finger. Yeah,
Urban
just hold on.
Cowboy.
Think of it quick. The names of the characters in?
Uh,
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Tommy?
Yeah.
No, no, that's his name here. What is?
Her name. Yeah. No, you're not gonna get it. It's good
Give
though.
me his name, or no, give me his name, and I'll get you yours.
Okay. His name. One syllable. Bud.
Bud and Sissy.
Yes, yes, Bud and Sissy. Now, what is Bud short for? That's one of those ones. I was this week years old when I realized that Arch Manning, that's short for Archibald. Like I didn't
Right,
know that, and it turns out
Archie.
that's his
Yeah,
grandpa's name. I didn't even realize. I never thought of it. But Bud, what's Bud? Bud could be short for anything.
I think that's like,
Budrick.
yeah, but I think it's more just you're just Bud,
Yeah, Bud.
like
What's up, Bud?
you're Junior. You're just
Yeah,
you're something because your dad shares that name, and
yeah, yeah. Fair,
um.
fair. Bud and Sissy. Yeah.
So
Deborah Winger, what a piece in that movie, though.
yeah,
Just a classic,
she
just hot
sure was.
chick.
Sissy
Yeah,
could get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So RoboCop lady wants something from her boyfriend Billy.
Dick.
So she starts sucking on his finger. And
Whoa.
and here's where I got to give Travolta credit. He is a good actor cuz he looks like he's into it. You know? I mean,
He's a
he
very
really looks like he's into it.
he's a very good actor, but also this is now we've discussed that this is pre-internet times. This is in the microfiche days, the Dewey Decimal System. She
Mhm.
had to be like ask the librarian, "Hey, where's the books on telekinesis?" This is also pre-Purell. This like I
His
you
fingers
know,
are probably pretty dirty.
yeah, before like 1997, I probably washed my hands like 4 times total. Like it just wasn't as prevalent. And now I do it
Yeah.
probably 16 times a day. Like
Yes.
it's just a lot of hands getting washed.
Constant.
But if I'm high school age and you're like, "Hey, let me suck on Brian Beckner's fingers." Like you are rolling the dice and not in
Yes.
a good way. Like that's good. That could be problematic for you down the line. It's an aggressive play, especially in the 1970s.
But then she stops, right? She's
Yeah.
teasing him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's the
Yeah.
problem? We do this
Yeah.
all the time." He's doing the full Barbarino
Yeah.
Travolta era.
It's
Like
so great.
he's and
The guy's amazing.
he's trying to hook up. She calls him a dumb
Yeah.
shit again. He slaps
Yeah.
her again.
Of course he
Then she
does.
snuggles up to him and
Uh-huh.
she's like, sort of baby talking. "I want you to do something." And
Yeah.
he's like, what? She starts blowing him. And then
Whoa.
in between the blowjob, she comes up for air and she's like, "I hate Carrie White." He's like, "Who?"
It is a weird thing to be thinking about when
Yeah.
when you're
Right.
engaged in that.
So we're back in the library now. It cuts back to the library. Greatest American Hero sneaks up on Carrie and he asks her to the prom. He
Yeah.
and she's
What's
hiding the telekinesis book.
what has I know Nancy Allen wanted him to ask her to the prom, but like what's given him the impetus to actually do so? We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay.
But she's reading about telekinesis. She just walks away. He asks her and
Yeah.
she just walks away.
Oh, nice. Hey, that's the game.
Mm.
That's my guy mystery. That's what he would
Negging.
say to do. Act like, yeah, you got a neg. Hey, fuck off. Let me
So
talk to your fat friend. Yeah. Yeah.
so the gym teacher spots her and asks
Yeah.
her, like, "Why are you so upset?" She tells
Yeah.
the teacher she was just invited to the prom by Tommy Ross. Teacher's like, "He's cute. Go for it." And
Yeah.
Carrie's like, "It's a trick." And the teacher's like trying to pump her up. And then the teacher goes up to Tommy and his
Yeah.
girlfriend Sue. He's like, "What?" She's like, What are you up to? What are you doing?" And they were being honest. They're like, they want to do something nice for Carrie. They're actually just being nice. They're nice people. Teacher's like, "Nah, it's bullshit." Sue's like, "I'm not going to the prom." and I
Yeah.
want my boyfriend to take Carrie. And then, like, that ends. So then Tommy, the next scene, greatest American hero, of course, he
Yes.
finds Carrie White's house, and he goes to her house, knocks on the door, asks her to go to the prom. And she asks, like, why are you asking? And he said, well, it's because you like my poem. And, I really like you, and I'd like to take you to prom. So she's like, fine, I'll go.
Yeah.
Next, we see RoboCop woman, Travolta, and two of his goon friends at a pig farm at night, and they
Whoa.
sneak in.
Whoa.
Travolta takes a sledgehammer and kills a pig, slaughters a pig with a sledgehammer violently.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and you're like, what's going on here? Back at Carrie's house, she asked her
Yeah.
mom, "Hey, can I go to the prom?" Mom orders her to the closet to pray.
Yeah, because
She
Jesus do not like
right?
proms. Yeah.
No,
He
no,
hates that shit.
hates proms. And
Yes.
she's begging. She said he's a nice boy. And Piper Laurie throws a drink in her face, talks about the evils of boy. You're not
Yeah.
going. Carrie starts slamming, like all of a sudden
That
windows
is
and doors start slamming.
Yeah, that is good advice. Anybody with daughters, you should have this exact talk
Right, boys are
with your
evil. I'm not.
teenage. Yeah, they're disgusting. They murder pigs. They try to do gross things to your beautiful daughters, and they should stay away from them.
Yeah, so doors and windows are slamming. And she's like, I'm going, mama. Things are going to change around here. And her mom's like, oh, you've got Satan's powers now.
Yeah,
Cut to the school auditorium. RoboCop lady, Travolta, they're rigging a bucket with pig's blood hovering over the stage at the prom.
yeah.
Cut back to Carrie sewing her own prom dress as the mom's praying away.
Oh, this was a prank. They
Yeah.
murdered a pig. Ugh.
Like, they
You know
couldn't
how I
use
feel
paint.
about pranking. Yes, you know how I feel about pranking.
Of
Like,
course.
look. You could have used donkey semen. You could have used there was
Paint.
ways. Yes, paint, anything. But you murdered a pig
He
and drained its
sledgehammered a
blood.
pig.
Yes,
Sledgehammered.
savage.
Um, so the school's buzzing. Hey, did you hear Tommy's taking Carrie White to the Bates High School prom? Like, everybody's going nuts. And Carrie's ready to head out now. Back to the house. She's ready to head out. Her mom looks at her and she goes, I can see your dirty pillows. And she goes,
Yeah.
breasts, mama. They're called breasts. The mom's freaking out. Like, it's
She calls her breasts dirty
dirty.
pillows. Ed, I hate to say it, but
It's
now
pretty
that's
good.
what I call them.
It's a pretty good one. Let me
Now
get a
I'm
look at
not
those
gonna.
dirty pillows.
Hey, get those dirty pillows out. Where's the dirty pillows? Like, hey, you see those dirty pillows? I'm a dirty pillows guy now.
We're about to get another reference that I didn't realize what it came from. The mom's freaking out. She starts yelling, they're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna
Oh,
laugh at you.
I've heard
The
that.
Adam
Yeah,
Sandler
yeah,
album called They're All Gonna
yes,
Laugh at You. That's
yeah.
from Carrie. They're all
I
gonna
didn't
laugh
know
at
that.
you.
I
And
didn't
she's
know that.
pulling her hair out. She's all gonna laugh at you.
Yeah,
Carrie uses telekinesis and throws her mom down on the bed and walks out. She's heads to
nice,
the prom. Fuck mom.
nice. Yeah,
Prom comes. Tommy's a perfect gentleman. He's nice. Carrie and Tommy
stay
win
close.
prom king and queen.
Yep.
Sue, the nice girlfriend of Tommy, sneaks into the prom to watch, and she's happy for Carrie. Like, this is what she wanted for Carrie, to have a nice night, her nice boyfriend's giving her a good time, and, like, having a normal night, treated
Yeah.
well. Then she spots. She looks above the stage. She sees the rigged bucket of blood.
Oh,
She
whoa.
knows something's up,
Yeah. What
and
is it?
she tries to run into the prom to warn everyone. Gym teacher, who is always suspicious of the motives, she, from the 8 is enough lady, she sees Sue charging in to, like, warn everybody. She thinks she's, like, jealous that she's with her boyfriend, and she throws her out of the prom. She's like, no, no. She's like, no, you have to understand. And the gym teacher locks the door, gets Sue out of there. She's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
then we see
Saves her life.
RoboCop lady pull
Yeah.
a rope. They've got the king and queen of the prom on the stage, bucket of blood,
Yeah.
falls all over Carrie.
This is the
Everything
image
slows
we've
down and gets
seen.
quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone has seen this image. Carrie. It's a prom queen covered in blood, and Carrie keeps hearing over and over, "They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you."
Yeah.
The bucket. So the blood comes, then the bucket comes down,
Yeah.
Bucket hits Tommy in the head, kills him.
Shut up.
Yeah,
A
greatest American
bucket?
hero, dead. A bucket
Was
hits
it
him in
a
the head.
lead bucket?
I don't even think they used a lot of lead in the 70s. You never know.
What? Okay,
So,
all right. I guess a
so
bucket could,
it's
if it hit you in the head on the right
in the
place, I guess it
exact
could break your
spot, the
neck.
back of the
Yeah,
head. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
he's dead. Carrie's
yeah.
covered in blood. Everybody's like, "What?"
You figure that
Carrie.
perm would protect him because they
Yeah,
used a lot of
that was a pretty
hairspray.
good helmet. It was a
Yeah,
good
back
helmet
in
he
the
had.
day, yeah, he had the Christopher Atkins going. You spray that down quite a bit, and then it's just dink, like buckets just bounce right off it. But no,
Right?
apparently not.
No,
This
killed
is
him.
Stephen King's vision.
R.I.P. Tommy. Carrie goes apeshit. Everything starts slamming, and I was like, "This is like the scene at the end of Zapped when he
Yes,
like has a
yeah,
full meltdown in the prom and everything's going crazy." So yeah, that was this
yeah,
scene. People
yeah.
try to leave. Carrie turns a fire hose on everyone. People are freaking out. It's just everything's going nuts.
Uh,
Water
give
hits the
give
microphone
me
system.
10. Oh, go walk in to take me to an auditorium, and this is much like driving to Whittier. Brian, here's $10 million. Hand me your phone now. Drive to Whittier. I wouldn't be able to do it. I've lived here all my life. Similarly, I walk into an auditorium and there's like, here's a briefcase with $10 million. Go over there and turn that fire hose on. Sorry, I'm leaving. I don't know how to do that.
No
How would
idea
you do
what.
that? I'm just
No.
fucking
Well, she's doing it all with her.
levers.
She's
Oh,
just covered in.
yeah,
Yeah,
telekinesis.
she's covered in blood. Everything's like going
Yeah,
haywire in the
slippery.
auditorium.
Yeah,
The water that's spraying all over the place hits the microphone system,
yeah,
electrocutes the principal and teacher, bait is enough lady. Then a fire breaks out. Carrie then
yes,
smashes the gym teacher, kills her
yeah.
with a blackboard. There's some, or no, the backboard from the
This
basketball backboard just hits the teacher, kills her.
a lot of this.
People,
This is a lot of jet fuels can't melt steel beams here. Ed. This not a lot of this stuff passes the fucking popular mechanics test. Like, oh, you get fucking the Grateful Dead played Woodstock in the rain. They didn't die. Like there's
yeah, that's
like you
true.
can have a microphone in your hand and have it get wet and not die. But okay, hey, look, this
And
is
as my fireman, my college roommate is still a New York City fireman. He's
oh
like,
yeah,
I've seen so many car fires, none of them explode like the movies.
yes, yeah,
Cars don't
never.
explode; they just don't.
Yeah, they don't. Yes.
But
I bet he's got a nice
everything's on
pension, Ed.
fire.
I bet he's
Yeah, oh
really
yeah.
set up.
He's
Yeah,
I
good for
think
him.
he's just about retirement age already.
Yeah, fucking
He's
asshole.
he's very
Yeah,
close.
yeah, good for him.
So the fire breaks out. Everyone's locked in the gym and everyone's catching on fire and
Yeah,
dying. And Travolta and RoboCop lady escape and they see a bloody Carrie in the middle of the road. She gets
yeah,
out. Those two get out. Everyone else is trapped in that gym.
yeah,
They try to run her over. They're like, go, RoboCop lady's like, step on it. And they're going to run her over. And then she uses her powers, flip the car,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
explodes.
yeah. She's basically an X-Man,
Yeah.
or she's Dom Toretto in the Fast and the Furious movies. She just has powers that we don't like. You don't know what kind of powers
We
she
can't
has. She uses the
comprehend what she's
Force.
capable
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
Yeah, she's got the force.
I would use the Force. Yeah.
Like when Carrie Fisher's like floating in space and using
In
the force
space,
at the end of
using
it.
the
Yeah.
she's dead. She's dead. She's using the Force and floating in space, and she's like, "Oh, I just float in space right around the ship and start using Force on shit. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out
Yeah.
of here."
Yeah. It
Yeah,
got very liberal with the use of the force towards the end.
I'll say.
So Carrie goes home, takes a bath. She's got to wash that blood off.
Yeah,
Mom comes and hugs her, tries to
cleanse.
console
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
She said, I should have killed myself when your dad put his thing in me when he drunkenly raped me. The type of thing that's how you console your daughter that way.
I mean, that's basically all our moms.
Yeah.
All our moms had that thought at some point.
Yeah. And then she stabs Carrie in the back and throws her down the stairs.
What? What? With what?
Yeah.
Just a knife?
Mom's like, I should have done this already. She stabs
Yeah.
her, throws her down the stairs. And Mom's about to finish her off at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
Carrie has every sharp object in the kitchen impale her mother at once. They all just come, every knife and fork, it's just.
That's kind of badass.
It's a pretty badass way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we see Carrie's house imploding and sucked into the earth.
Okay.
Everything, everyone's gone. Then we go see the lot where Carrie's house used to be.
Yeah.
And Sue, the nice girl who was trying to warn her and got thrown out of the prom.
Yeah.
We find out she's the only person from that high school to survive, or from that prom to survive, because she got kicked out. and that was it. Everybody got trapped in. The two people in the car got exploded, and so she looks at a for sale sign that's been vandalized on the lot, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
buy this lot where the house used to be," and it just
Yeah.
says, "Carrie White burns in hell." The end.
Wow.
Pretty wild ride. We
It
had
is.
Barbarino getting a blowjob. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Now, Stephen King, this might be one of those ones he doesn't remember writing because Stephen King
There
was
was a good, like, 10, 15 year stretch,
yeah,
right?
he was just fueling his genius with cocaine and Budweiser and
Mhm.
cigarettes and just fucking just going for it, like just really doing lots of drugs and alcohol. And look, I mean, this doesn't sound like there's not much story here, Ed. There's literally
No.
no plot. Like they're mean to her, reasons unknown. She has
I
powers,
mean, I
reasons unknown.
look, I I participated more, like, then I shouldn't have participated in any, but there were some kids that got picked on, and you, like, you know, hopefully you're not the
Yeah,
worst, the ringleader, but, like,
yeah,
some kids get shit on. They have a terrible high school experience.
yeah.
She just takes it to the next level.
Yeah. I guess it is relatable in the sense that like most of us felt like Carrie
Yes,
inside in high school.
I
And
definitely I definitely got bullied, and I definitely
yes,
dished it out too. Like, it's
yeah,
this is,
yes, yeah,
and what we try to teach our kids going forward is, like, be nicer
yeah,
to people. Look, nobody taught me to look out for the shooters because there weren't
yeah,
shooters in
yes.
our
They didn't.
day.
There weren't. Yeah.
But my buddy Jake and I, we talk sometimes where we're like, oh yeah, those kids definitely would have been shooters if it were a different
Oh,
era.
yeah. I mean,
Like, the
that's
kids that would have been shooters if it was a different era.
yeah. I remember like getting my testosterone. Well, I'll tell you two stories that I regret. I remember playing. We were playing football in PE, and some kid was on the other team, and I don't like something happened, and he pissed me off, and I just grabbed him by the shirt and I threw him down on the ground. And even in that moment, I felt like such an asshole, and I still think about it to this day. Like, why did I do that to that poor kid? Like that was so fucked up. Meanwhile, that kind of shit also. I'm not saying like I'm some tough guy because people threw me fucking around. Then one time I was walking, and this is how much of an asshole I was. This is where we're at the age where we're like going to parties every weekend, and this girl was walking by me in high school, and I really regret this, and this is my penance. I'm going to say it publicly. And she walked by me and she goes, "Hey Brian," she goes, "Where's the parties at this weekend?" And for no reason at all, I don't, I had no ill will towards this girl. I didn't know her that well, and she goes, "Hey Brian, where's the parties?" And I go, "In your pants."
Oh,
Why did I say that to her?
it's a pretty good line.
That's so
It's
mean.
fucked. It's
It's
fucked, but
so
it's a pretty good line.
fucked. I didn't know she's a teenage girl. And like, why was I such a fucking asshole to her? And I feel
Yeah.
like what because you don't feel good about yourself at that age.
Right.
And like shit
Nobody knows who they are, and
yes.
so they're just trying to. I think middle school was worse in my head. Middle school was worse than
Yes, it was.
high
Oh, it is.
school
Yes. Middle
because,
school
like,
was
by high school, I
fucked.
kind of figured out
Yes.
who I wanted to be for
Evened
the
out.
most part. For the most
Yep.
part, high school though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
middle school, it's just everyone's going through puberty, and, like, everybody's trying to pretend they're
Yes.
someone they're not. It's a fucking awful time.
Yes, it was horrible. Well, I don't now. Much like Gone with the Wind, I had no when you explained Gone with the Wind, I had no zero
That was a
interest in
but
watching.
that movie was like 3 that was
Yeah,
like almost
yeah,
4 hours. That was a crazy long movie. This
yeah. I
is,
cut.
I think, a tidy probably hour and a half.
Yeah, like they used to be.
Yeah.
Movies used to be 90 minutes. That's a good amount of time for a movie. I happen to. I might. I got some interest. I might watch Carrie.
They're
Okay.
not gonna laugh at you.
Are we doing an episode? We got a bonus
Yeah.
segment here.
I got a bonus. Hey, it's October.
Yes. Yes.
It's October.
Ed, explain an episode of Chips.
Okay. There's a special Halloween episode called Trick or Trick, October 21st, 1978.
This is now for people. Most people know Chips. It was Highway Patrolman, which Highway
California
Patrolman.
Highway Patrol is
Yeah,
abbreviated to CHIPS.
Yeah, chips. And these highway patrolmen, and they've given me many tickets over the years, and that's all they do is they harass you on the freeway and give you a ticket for going 85 in
But
65.
you just point
Yeah,
out one thing that the show strays from immediately. You got these
yeah,
tickets on the highway.
yeah, on the highway. Yeah, these.
Most Chips
But mean,
episodes are not on the highway.
yeah, they're on the road and they're investigating crimes.
They're in
They're
neighborhoods.
yes,
There's
they're
no
going
highway in
around.
this whole episode. There's no
Yeah,
highway.
yeah, they're like, we got to find out who the fucking who the masked burglar is, and I'm like, no, you're a fucking ticket
No.
giver. Like, what is this bullshit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I
If
couldn't.
there's a car on fire on the side of the road,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
tend to that. You don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was your job. You scrape up the dead motorcyclist off the road. You know what they do? You know what they love to do? They love to run a traffic break. They
Mm,
love to, let's slow everybody down because there's a fucking ladder on the freeway up here. Let's slow everything way down. You know what they
right.
like to do?
Put
They
some
like to
cones out.
pull, yeah, they like to pull people over and they like to give them a ticket. And then they like to sit there on the side of the road and just check their phone for a while. And meanwhile, you know what
While
they
they have
know is happening?
your license.
Yes, no, yeah. Well, they do that. Yes, but they
When you're
know
waiting, you're
that.
like, am I getting a ticket or not? But
Oh yeah,
no.
they make you sit forever. But then they let you drive off. But then they sit there and do their shit. And what they know is happening is everyone sees them. Everybody slows down. And then you
Right.
got a
And they
10-minute.
notice.
Yes, you think you got a 10-minute fucking traffic jam, and you pull up, and what is it? Some fucking asshole sitting there texting his mistress on the side of the
Yep.
road. Like, get off the fucking road so we can drive here, buddy. Yeah, fuck Chips.
They know it.
By the way, my favorite show. Loved it. Love Chips.
Great show.
Yeah.
So Ponch and John,
Yeah.
for those who don't know it, like these are two fuck machines. These are
Yeah.
handsome guys in the 70s riding
Yes.
motorcycles.
Yes. Larry Wilcox, by the way, John was slated to be the star. The show was supposed to be focused around him,
But Frank Poncherello.
Frank Poncherello, Italian named Frank Poncherello, played by a Mexican guy.
Eric Estrada.
Yes, Eric Estrada, the Mexican Italian Frank Poncherello. He shows up and he's so beautiful and he's got the tight black gloves and he's got the guns and his uniform is real tight on the guns and the man is just gorgeous and so Wilcox, who later went to prison for a penny stock scheme or might not have done actual time, but was
he did a cameo for me.
I know.
He was like in his garage.
Yes, he was. Yes, he did some financial malfeasance later in his life, much like Angels third baseman.
It cost $25 for him to endorse my book.
That's actually a pretty big number for Wilcox.
He's made some choices.
Yes. He was supposed to be the star because he was the boy next door white guy, but he didn't have the charisma that our guy Ponch
He's a good looking
had.
guy, but he wasn't
Handsome.
He wasn't the dripping with sex Eric Estrada.
Estrada took over. So these guys hated each other's guts and they were partners and they investigated crimes on their motorcycles.
Yeah. So Ponch and John are riding on motorcycles and Ponch is like, man, I love Halloween. I like things that go bump in the night. Like he's already alluding to like, I gotta fuck.
He likes to fuck. Yeah.
And then up ahead, so they're not on the highway, but we see some vans swerving all over the place, like an unmarked van swerving all over the place.
Yeah.
And then you get the peppy disco music and they're in pursuit. And it's like,
7 Mary 3 and 4. Yeah.
Mm. And so they're after it. The van turns into a studio. And like this thing happened a million times. He turns onto like a studio lot and there are two guys carrying a background painting like the Coyote Roadrunner trick where they painted like scenery. And of course, somebody drives right through the painting. Like that happens so much during chase scenes. The guys are carrying goes right through it. There were two places they filmed the show on the yet to be completed 105 freeway, which is what takes you to LAX. Every highway scene happened on the same stretch of freeway because it wasn't open yet, so they could just use that to shoot. And then also on the lot, like would do stuff on lazy. They're like, yeah, let's
just
shoot over there. So they're like, these guys are supposed to be the highway patrol, and they're like
crazy.
on a studio lot.
Yeah, crazy.
And the van stops, like screeches to a halt, and some skinny delivery driver opens up, and it's a
Yeah.
van full of black cats. And he
Oh,
said he's due
no.
on the
Oh,
set for
no.
a horror movie. So
Yeah.
Ponch is kind of freaking out because he's like,
Yeah.
13 black cats just
He's
ran in front of
Mexican.
me.
He's Mexican. That's Mexicans are very superstitious. Like this is known thing in the Hispanic community. Yeah.
And so then you cue the theme song celebrating the California Highway Patrol. That's when you see highways, but not during the
Yeah.
episode. You only see
Do
it during the
do
theme
do
song.
do 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 do. I mean, it's not the Magnum theme, but it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. But I would estimate about 7 minutes of every episode are just helicopter aerial shots of Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they had a lot of filler. The
They
in
did.
and out of
Yeah.
every break, there's
B
just
roll.
you're looking at
Yeah.
highways.
It's an hour-long show. It was an hour-long cop drama,
Yeah.
like they had some, and they didn't have enough words on the script to really do it. They had to have some
No.
chases and shit.
They had a lot less words than usual for this script. There's not
Yeah,
much. So back at the station, Ponch walks under a ladder where a guy's replacing light bulbs.
I remember this
And
episode.
John's
Yeah,
like, "You just walked under a ladder."
yeah,
And then he's like, "It's okay. I'm not superstitious, but like
yeah,
things are going
yeah,
wrong." Then they're in the locker room. Ponch is working his electric shaver. He's like doing his
yeah.
electric shaver,
Cuts himself.
grooming in
Yeah,
front of his locker, which has a mirror, and he somehow nicked himself.
yeah,
He's like, "Oh." Then he closes the locker door. Mirror inside the
yeah.
locker breaks.
Now, what was up? What was up with cops getting dressed at work back in the day? Like they go,
Right.
like you couldn't just get like just a normal person. You just put on your uniform at your house and then go to work. They would come to
Yeah.
work and get dressed, and then they would get undressed and sometimes even take a shower at work. There was like a locker room at
Before
their
you go
job.
home.
Yeah,
That was
that is
my whole
so
thing with high
weird.
school football. I'm like, I'm not giving a press conference. Let me just go home and I'll
Yeah,
shower at home. A much
yeah.
better situation than the shitty school shower.
Yeah, even in the NFL, they're in communal showers. Like there was,
Right.
I mean, maybe they got stalls now, but it's like, hey guys, let's all compare dongs every day. Like, what's going on here? Let's have a little privacy. Go home and take a fucking shower. You don't need to take a shower at work. It's insane.
Yeah. So you get the briefing room. There's always a briefing room scene where Sergeant Getreyer, who's the father of the beautiful Chris Pine,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yes,
he always gives out like the assignments and
he
stuff.
does. Yeah.
And he warns about the hobgoblin. This
Oh
radio is to be
no.
used for official business only. Apparently, every
Yeah.
Halloween, somebody takes over and is like, "I'm the hobgoblin," and like just fucks with the walkie talkies and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Like it's a prank.
Yeah.
Now we're in some apartment and we see a lady putting on white makeup and a white wig. And we find out this couple are planning on doing some crimes to get money that the lady's husband or boyfriend owes a loan shark. His
Yeah.
right arm's in a sling, so he's already been scolded for not coming up with the money. And so she's like dressing like some sort of ghost to commit some crimes, some
Okay.
robberies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is a good time. It's before they made everybody wear masks to go in stores. That was a good time. That was the only time you could get away with being disguised in a bank or something. You're like, what? It's Halloween. Like,
Right.
how am I supposed to take off my Freddy Krueger mask? Then you won't know. Then I'm just a guy in a fucking striped sweater. Like, I'm Freddy Krueger. I got to wear my mask in the CVS today.
Yeah.
And you rob it.
You could commit crimes, sure.
Yes, exactly.
Now, Ponch and John are patrolling a neighborhood, not a highway.
Yeah.
They're just like it's straight up neighborhood.
Yep.
And a little kid goes up to him and says trick or treat. Which, what kind of kid trick or treats to a cop?
No.
Like they're on motorcycles.
Yeah.
And Ponch is like, "Hey, sorry, kid, I don't have any treats." And then the kid squirts him with a water gun with perfume.
Oh, this dude. This
kid would
he's
be
lucky to
dead.
be alive. Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is
He'd be dead.
He'd have two in the back, and because of qualified immunity, Ponch would be back on the job in a couple of weeks.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but the kid was white, so I mean that.
He's fine. Yeah, he's not.
He's
no
fine.
danger. He's no danger to anybody in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Well, the minute that water gun came out, that's a black kid.
Yeah,
That
it's
kid's
over.
got 19
It's
bullets in him.
over. It's the end. Good night.
So he Ponch like playfully tells the kid, "Hey, I might have to arrest you and handcuff you," and then like that's it. Second later, his shirt is dry, but Ponch is all bummed. He's like, "Why me?" And like, all right,
Yeah.
whatever, because he doesn't want perfume on him because he's planning on going to fuck somebody.
Yeah,
That's
he's got his own musk that he likes. Like he
right.
doesn't. He's got to throw on Sex Panthers. It's made with real bits of panther, so
That's right.
he can go out and he's got a signature scent that
Hmm.
it attracts a certain level of woman. Now, if he's mixing scents, it could
Right.
throw off the whole dynamic.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's what he goes through every day. Everything is geared towards Ponch having sex.
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
So then they're in this neighborhood. They see some trick or treaters, and then they see two guys stealing sod out of some guy's front yard, and they're putting it in
how,
a pickup truck, and they
how would you
drive
even
off.
know somebody was stealing sod? You would like it's
They're
this
like, this
guy's
looks
redoing his
suspicious because
yard.
the guys are just taking sod and putting it, and then they drive off, and they're like,
Yeah,
this looks suspicious, and
yeah,
that rings true with cops. Like they just see something and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
looking they're
You
itchy
look
to
suspicious.
to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so
They're like, maybe we can use our stick today. We haven't used our stick this
that's
week
right.
yet, and I'm looking to crack some heads with my stick.
Right. And so Sod Stealer number two tells his buddy, hey, you should pull over. The cops, are behind him. Sod Stealer number one's like, no, lose him. Let's lose him.
Yeah,
So he guns it. And then they eventually crash because it's a chase and they crash.
yeah,
And then the Sod Stealer's like, oh, we're just playing a prank on a buddy. Last Halloween, the guy drained my pool. And this time, like, we took his sod.
you
It's
know how much it fucking costs to fill a pool? There's fucking 25,000 gallons of water in a pool. It's that
well,
could be
sod's
a
got to cost a
few
lot too.
grand. Yeah, yeah,
They
exactly.
dismantled the guy's front yard. What is going on
Also,
with these pranks?
so much work to do some gay prank. Like, oh, I'm gonna fucking take your lawn out.
Yeah,
Like,
just prank call him. Prank
yeah,
call him.
you got to fucking shovel up all the grass. You got to rent a truck. You're like, ha
Labor.
ha, I took your lawn.
Yeah.
Okay, can you
Now
bring
my
it
back
back,
hurts for
please?
the next month.
Yeah, what a stupid. I'd rather have pig blood poured on me, honestly.
So Ponch and John head to a store because Ponch is like, I got to load up my bike with candy
Yeah,
because that kid went trick or treating.
yeah,
In the parking lot, a guy comes up to him and he's like, how dare you threaten to arrest my son? Put him in handcuffs. Now he has
yeah,
just run away. And he looks at
yeah,
Ponch. He's like, and you're the cause of it. He's
yeah,
like, the kid who shot him with a water pistol. He's like, hey, I should probably arrest you. That was it.
it was
And
a
now
joke.
the
Yeah,
dad's blaming him for his son running away. We
it's
get
white privilege.
more aerial shots of LA. Lots of
Yeah,
aerial shots.
beautiful.
Ponch and John now are just right. The highway patrol, I have to remind you, they're just going around the neighborhood asking kids if they've seen recent runaway Tommy Stone. Like
Yeah,
that's their job now. They're just
yeah.
looking for a runaway. And the kid's like,
Meanwhile, call a cop right now and say someone in your life is missing. They're like, oh, what drugs are they on? I
yeah,
can't.
we gotta wait 48 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Wait till they've been gone 3 days and then call back, and we'll come out and file a report. Maybe.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
if they happen to overdose in front of me, I've got Narcan, but that's about all I
yeah,
can do. So then Ponch lectures them. They're like, you shouldn't be walking without an adult. This group of kids, and then one little guy, he like steps out and he's like, I am an adult. It's a little person with a mustache. So like that, there's a little comedy bit
was it Billy
at the
Barty?
expense of it. It wasn't Billy Barty, but it had that vibe. Like a
Yeah,
little person with a mustache. He's
yeah,
like, I am an adult. And then they're like, oh,
yeah,
my bad. Like, and that
yeah.
was it. Like, okay. That was weird.
Always funny though. Like it's like
Yeah,
it's the joke writes itself. Like you don't even
sure.
need to write a joke. You're like,
Little
we'll
person
just
with
throw a
mustache.
midget in
Like,
this. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Boom,
the
we're
writer's
good.
room.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
they're like, fine. We did it.
yep,
High five.
yep.
Gautreyer rides by on his bike. Had forgotten. Did he do a lot of field work? I always imagine him in the station.
Yes, and also, yeah, he would ride a motorcycle because there was a couple that were car dudes,
Right.
but Gautreyer, who's still, I mean, how fucking old was Gautreyer back then? Because he had to be in his early 40s
He had the
he had to
white.
be
He
in
had
his
the white
30s.
temples. He had the gray white
I j-
temple.
I just looked it up. He's 83 today. So that means in the
So
late 70s,
76. Yeah. So
he's in his
he was in
late
his 30s.
30s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in his 30s.
Insane. That's crazy.
Yeah. But a handsome
Yeah.
dude
Yeah,
with a
he
handsome
would.
son.
Oh, gorgeous. Yes, he's a good-looking man, and yeah, he would ride the bike sometimes to like check on shit. I remember that.
So he's like, I'm looking for whichever one of your fellow cops is playing the hobgoblin. So he's like, I know
Yeah,
it's not you two guys because
yeah,
whatever. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Ponch, you smell like perfume." And Ponch is all like, "Meh." And
Yeah.
then Ponch and John ride up upon they find two attractive women trying to steal a street sign, and they're like, "It's for a scavenger hunt." And they do some flirting, and they let them off the hook. And then they're like, "Hey, would you like to come to a Halloween party tonight?" And they're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." So like, they've lined
Yeah.
up their kills.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these guys got pussy. Like there's just no big deal. These guys, they're cops. They're in shape. They're handsome. These guys are doing work.
And we cut back to the ghost lady who's holding up a liquor store while her boyfriend with the arm in a sling, her husband, is driving a getaway van. And she
Yeah.
threatens the liquor store guy. She's like, "I will spray you with mace."
Yeah.
And it looked
Wow.
like a little tube of Binaca too. It looked like the
Yeah.
tiniest thing. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Just take everything. It's fine." And then like, okay, so
Yeah.
then the
And
liquor store
this was
guy,
pre pepper spray, by the way. So how shitty was Mace that they had to come up with pepper spray? Like it's like what you
right?
think would Mace would just be enough, but apparently they're like, oh, Mace doesn't work. It didn't work on
Yeah,
Rodney King. We got to get some pepper spray.
right. We need something that if we spray it, everyone within a quarter mile will have their eyes burning. Because
Yes.
I've been downwind of some pepper
Yes.
sprayings
Yes.
and it's rough.
It is. Yeah. I've been around that as well.
So the liquor store guy, like Ponch and John, are just always exactly where the action is, but never on the highway. The liquor store guy then sees Ponch and John. He's like, "Hey, I just got robbed by the ghost," and the
Yeah.
ghost lady runs away, and she cuts in front of a car who's driven by a drunk driver. He crashes. He crashes the car, and that's more comedic relief. Drunk driving was
Yeah.
like always the comedic
Hilarious.
relief on this show.
Oh man, I can only tell you how many times I went and picked up my stepdad's friends from getting 502s back in the day. The same night, they would just arrest them and be like, "Can you come get him?" And then it was fine. And then they just still were driving drunk, like no big deal.
Yeah, and some old lady drives up to a group of kids and steals their bag of Halloween candy. For like she just and then jumps in her car. She just takes a whole bag and leaves. Like it's a kid in a
It's
skeleton costume. She drives off.
insane. What's like
And
candy?
Ponch goes up to the kids and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm sorry about your candy being stolen. But I've got a motorcycle full of like looks like old people candies, like the little like
Oh,
lozenges. Like it's
butterscotch.
yeah, like
Yeah,
bullshit candy.
trash.
And he
Yeah.
wasn't giving them candy bars. He's giving them like
No.
little trash.
It's not even a Reese's. Wait, hold on a
No,
second, Ed. Hold on a second, Ed. Let's take this call. This is going to be my exterminator coming to spray for ants. Here, let's take the call. This is Brian. Hold on. Oh, hey. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Yep. Okay,
Oh,
now I got you. Hello, this is Brian.
hello, this is Landon with Oceanfront Pest Control. How's your afternoon?
Hey, the afternoon's going great, my man. You coming over?
Yes, sir. I'll be there in approximately 20 to 35 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I'll be wrapping up at that time. So there's a gate, and the gate code is pound. Shit, I don't know the gate
Zero
code.
four
Yep, say it.
0422.
That's it, buddy. That's the gate code. All right, I'll see you in a few, Landon. You the man.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, you too, brother. See you. Okay, ant guy's on his way in.
that's good. All right, Ghost Lady and her husband now have $1,022. So they were pulling off some scores in 1976
Unreal.
in one night.
Yeah,
Must have bumped off a few liquor stores.
yeah,
And they're like, guy's like, "All right, we'll pay off the loan shark. We have enough."
yeah,
And she's like, "Yeah, we have $1,022. That'll leave us with only $22. Let's commit some more robberies."
yeah.
Now
Smart,
she wants
smart.
she
Yeah,
got her beak wet. She wants more.
yeah. Now, like you may be going like, this seems like kind of a lot in '70s monies for bumping off liquor stores. Lest we forget that Buck Swope witnessed a late
Oh,
night donut shop
donuts.
murder where both the perpetrator and the proprietor accidentally, well, on purpose, murdered each other. And Buck Swope swooped in and took the day's profits from a Winchell's and started an entire hi-fi store. He rented the building.
Yeah,
He
like
bought
at least
all
10
the
grand.
inventory.
But it had to be 10 grand
at
in
least.
donuts.
Yes,
In donuts.
from one day's haul at a donut store. A donut today
Must
is
have been a lot of
85
cops.
cents.
It must have been near a police station.
Yes, they were like a nickel a donut back then. They must have been just selling cases of donuts all day long and coffee.
So then Ponch and John stop by some abandoned house to look for. They're like, we can't find runaway Tommy anywhere. He must be in this abandoned house. And they find him hiding under some box.
Yeah.
Tommy tells Ponch, "Hey, you smell funny." Like a callback to when he's hit him with perfume.
Oh, I thought he shit himself, and that's why he's hiding. Like he shit himself, and he's like,
no.
I can't be
Tommy
out
tells
now.
Ponch he smells funny.
Yeah,
when they like uncover him, and he's just hiding out, and then like Ponch hugs him, and it's like, okay, that's the end of that storyline. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
He ran away. Dad yells at him. Then they just find him. They hug.
And is Ponch absolved? Like, hey, sorry, your kid has autism. Like, it's not really. I'm not the one that made him go to the other place. Maybe don't have your fucking kid with special needs out running the streets by himself. Maybe look after him. Maybe be a fucking dad and not expect the fucking CHP to raise your kids. We write tickets.
But there was no like. The ghost lady who's robbing things, like that's a storyline. They're trying to stop a criminal. This is some random kid who comes up to Ponch and then runs away. Then they find him, and there's no twists or turns. It's just one scene he's there, one scene he's missing, one scene he's back. That clearly is like, all right, we've already used 7.5 minutes worth of aerial shots. We need another 7 minutes of story. So they just added that bullshit.
Yeah.
Ponch and John drive by where the street sign, where the hot chicks said they wouldn't steal it. They ended up stealing the street sign after all for their scavenger hunt.
Now they got to go investigate. They got to go see.
Right,
oh, you didn't put the street sign down in your panties, did you? I better take a look. That's how I would investigate it.
Yeah, and I tend to investigate better with my penis.
Yes.
So just as that they're seeing the sign, remember, everything, they're not traveling great distances on a highway. Just as that's happening, they see the old lady stealing another kid dressed like a skeleton, his bag of candy, jumps in her car, drives away. They follow her to her house, and they're looking in the windows, and they see this old lady just dumping out bags of candy and like sifting through candy. They find out, and she's very old. It turns out she lost her engagement ring in some kid's candy bag who is dressed like a skeleton. So she just, every skeleton she's attacking. And then John's like, hey, did you ever check your bowl of candy to see if the engagement ring's in there? She's like, oh yeah, there. Everything's good. And they're like, you just terrified. Like you ruined, I don't know, 12 different Halloweens for kids. And they're like,
she's the Grinch. Yeah.
No big deal. But she doesn't they don't give the candy back. Now she has everyone's candy.
Did you see any Pearson salted nut rolls amongst the mix?
No. So it wasn't a truly great haul, but she took down a lot of good candy.
Yeah.
Got a report for another 211. It's the ghost lady.
7 Mary 3 and 4 responding. Yep.
Ponch and John in pursuit to more disco music. Getaway van. As they're trying to get away, kids are throwing eggs at it because they're doing a little egg tossing.
Yeah.
That's
what you do. A lot of pranking happen. You know, Devil's Night. They used to call it in certain cities.
Where I grew up,
made up.
Where I grew up, Mischief Night. It was the night before Halloween.
Oh, yeah. You made a
on Halloween. Thing. We were in it for the candy. We weren't doing. I wasn't big on the pranks, but I know that's the night where pranks would happen.
Do your kids hit you up to not have to go to school the day after Halloween, or in some places there is no school the day after Halloween? Yeah. Oh, because mine do. Well, my daughter would be like, "Oh, no one's going to school tomorrow," and I'm like, "No one goes to school any day. There is no school. There's school like every other day, every other week, and it's like, oh, we get this off. It's a ditch day. It's fucking the day after Halloween. It's the day I still don't give a fuck. Go to school. Not my problem."
So. Because the getaway van got hit by eggs, they can't possibly drive. They can't use their windshield wipers. The van just crashes. An egg hits their windshield, and they're like, we're fucked.
Yeah. Also,
So
this is pre-Bidenomics because now eggs are fucking $800 a dozen. Like this
that's
is
right.
no one's throwing
It
eggs.
might as
at
well be Fabergé eggs you're
yes,
throwing.
you're fine this Halloween. Ain't nobody throwing an egg at shit this year because eggs are fucking too goddamn expensive.
So now there's time for just one more thing. What does Ponch really need to do this episode? He's made an arrest. He's found a lost kid. He's got one other thing to do.
Oh, he's got to fuck.
Of course.
Yeah.
So like now we gotta they get into plain clothes.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Bell bottoms, bottoms, boots,
really tight pants.
Yes, and like an open blouse.
Yep.
With a cool pattern on it. Yeah,
not the bottom of the legs, but you want to see what Ponch is working with.
Now, are they going and doing some kind of disco? Are they hitting a disco somewhere?
They're going to that Halloween party the scavenger hunt ladies were.
Oh yeah.
And they show up, and at the party they see Getreyer, Grossman, the other guy that you recognize from.
Grossy. I love Grossy.
Yeah. All the cops are already there.
What?
And part of the scavenger hunt was each woman was supposed to collect a cop. So they all lured cops in. So Frank Poncherello and John Baker are about to blow some backs out. They are ready to go.
Yeah.
Getreyer looking great.
Yes.
I wrote, guessing Getreyer gets it in too. That's what I wrote down there.
Yes, of course. 100%. Yeah, no, Getreyer was also doing work back then. Everyone was doing work. Even Grossy probably did some work. The one guy that wasn't doing work was Harlan, the mechanic.
The guy who they kept in the garage. You never saw him out in the field.
Yeah, he was kind of like a little person. He was very slight, and he wore like a doctor's coat because he was like a genius at fixing Crown Victorias or something. Like they're like, oh, we got to get it to Harlan.
Why was he wearing a lab coat?
Yeah, well, he's wearing a white lab coat, and he's supposed to be some fucking grease monkey mechanic.
Yeah.
But back then he was like the professor of how to fix a Crown Vic.
Yeah, he should have been dressed like Fonzie with the onesie. The gray coveralls. Like, you shouldn't be dressed in you're dealing with oil. Why would you be wearing a lab coat?
It's crazy. It's insane.
So that was the end of that episode. So it's
amazing.
90% cocaine in the writer's room.
Yes.
And 10% Ponch just like, I don't care what you guys do. Just make sure I fuck at the end.
Yeah. Can I get laid? At what point do he's thumbing the script. He's like, I'm to page 14. I haven't been to a disco yet. There's no chicks in bikinis. What is this episode? I'm not even showing up to work. You don't even need me.
We'll add in some ladies trying to steal a street sign on a ladder.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, I know where this is going. I'm going to fuck them.
Okay, excellent work as always, Ed. I love these episodes, fan favorites. Ed explains a movie. Ed explains an episode of Chips 4. Hold on, let's play the song. Let's at least attempt to do it right one time. 4 Ed Daly. My name is Brian Beckner. This has been whichever episode it is, of the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. We will see you next week.
Goodbye.